Hey guys, welcome to Real Estate Due Diligence series where we talk about how we do our due diligence with all the different real estate professionals that are going to be involved in your real estate transaction. So let's talk about due diligence in real estate. How do you do your due diligence in real estate? Well, that's going to consist of some things that you're going to do in the beginning, but it's also going to consist of some things that you're going to do continuously through this real estate transaction. So in the beginning, right, you're going to pick your property type. What type of property that you want to buy. You're obviously going to pick your area, you're going to pick the style, and you're going to pick what price point you feel like you should be buying in or what you qualify for. So once you locked in a property, you want to see what's going on in the market, right? So you're going to look at a bunch of listings that are listing type of properties that you want to buy in your area. But after you see the general prices in the area, what the market is kind of going for in terms of the list price, you want to actually go back and do some research on the properties that sold in that area at that specific, your bedrooms, your bathrooms, at that specific style and that specific price point. But look at the properties that actually sold and look at those actual prices for those properties. So once you've done that due diligence and you know what ballpark you should be looking in, and it's going to give you some ideas on the offers that you should be making, then we're going to do our due diligence on all of the real estate professionals that we're going to need to enlist to help us get from where we're at to the closing table. So those are going to be people like our appraisers, our real estate agents, our loan officers, our attorneys, our title company, and even our home inspector. So we're going to go through the list of how we do our due diligence with them as it pertains to the real estate transaction and an ongoing due diligence that you might not be aware that you should be doing. Okay, so let's get into it. So now once you found a property that you want to buy, you found the area, the type, the style, all the specifics, and you've done your due diligence knowing how much they actually sold for, and you want to look probably at the most recent sales, maybe 3 to 6 months at the most back to get a really good idea of what the market's doing. You want to then engage with your loan officer because at the end of the day, unless you're buying cash, you're going to need a loan for this. So you want to find an experienced, professional, available loan officer who is actually lending on the real estate type that you're looking for. And that's super important because you have loan officers who do financing on all different types of real estate. And some of them may or may not be qualified depending on the type of real estate that you're looking for, or it just may be in an industry that they're just not practicing in. So look for a loan officer actually who's doing loans in the type of real estate that you want to buy. So once you find one who is experienced, who's available, and is very credible, you want to engage with them. You want to fill out a loan application like you would any normal application, but here's how you do your due diligence once you found that loan professional. You want to gather all your documents that they're going to ask for. They're going to ask for your pay stubs, your financials, your 2 years tax returns. Anywhere you have assets, gather up those documents and give those to your loan officer with the loan application if possible. So this is the part of the due diligence that's going to be ongoing. And this part of the due diligence is what I call helping them help you. Because with the loan officer in particular, the quicker you get them all of the documents that they're going to need, the faster you're going to get pre-approved. And if you keep up this practice, this is the faster that you're actually going to get to the closing table. Because remember, the loan officer controls the money. So you want to do your due diligence and you want to keep a good rapport and to keep pace with your loan and that relationship open with your loan officer. That's the first piece of due diligence that you're going to do as you move along your loan and your real estate buying process. So now, once you got pre-approved, you're going to probably interface with your real estate agent, right? They're going to be the buyer's agent in the scenario, maybe even the seller's agent, but they're a real estate agent nonetheless. And they're the one that's going to give you access to the properties that you're looking at. So again, you're going to make sure they're professional, they're experienced, they're available, and they're competent, right? Like you would any other real estate professional who we're going to interface with during this whole process. So once you've decided on one, they're right for you and their experience and everything, how do you continuously do your due diligence with them? Or how do you help the real estate agent help you? Well, you're going to actually give them listings. And this may seem counterintuitive because you're saying to yourself, well, if they're the real estate professional and they're the real estate agent, they should be sending me listings. They're going to do that if they're worth their weight in salt. But doing your due diligence is finding properties on your own and sending them to them. Don't feel like you're doing their job for them because you're doing their job for you because you're trying to get from point A to point B, which is where you're at right now, to the closing table and ownership of your property. So you want to send them listings. Don't stop doing your research just because you have a real estate agent. Continue to look for properties in your area. You could look for properties. You could call some wholesalers, right? You may see some signs, some bandit signs around where they say, we'll buy your property. Remember, you're not trying to sell a property, but if they're buying properties, they may have some properties that you could be interested in that could be a potential property for you. So the point is, where it comes to your real estate agent, do not sit back and let them send you listings. Do your due diligence. Again, this is part of the ongoing due diligence that we talked about. Another aspect of due diligence that you can do with your real estate agent or in proxy with your real estate agent is go to open houses. Let's just say your real estate agent can't make it, can't show you some properties, or there's no properties for you to look at with your real estate agent right now, and you see a property that you're interested in, or maybe you just want to see what the properties are like in the area. Go to an open house. If you go to an open house, there's likely to be an agent there showing the property, and they're going to try to solicit your business to them. Basically, they want to try to become your real estate agent. And you say, listen, I have a real estate agent. I just heard that there was an open house. They were not able to come to the open house with me, but I just want to come and take a look. You may discover that this property is one you're interested in, and you can go back to your real estate agent and say, hey, I went to this open house. Here's the address. I want to submit an offer. I want more information on this property. So the point is, as it pertains to your real estate agent and you looking at properties to purchase, do not wait for your real estate agent to actually send you properties. Do your due diligence continuously by looking up properties, sending them to your real estate agent. If you have opportunities to go to open houses and try to find some off-market deals. Because remember, as long as your loan officer can actually give you the financing for it, that could be a potential deal for you. And there might be a whole lot of upside in that scenario. We've talked about your loan officer. We've talked about the real estate agent. Once you get a property under contract, right? You're pre-qualified from your loan officer. Your real estate agent help you find a property, or you help them help you find a property. You get it under contract. All right, cool. So the next step is sending that contract to your attorney. Your attorney is going to have to look over the contract, make sure everything is good. You're going to have a certain amount of time to be in contract review so that your attorney and the seller's attorney can look over the terms, and you guys can both agree that the terms are satisfactory and you're ready to move on to the next part of the real estate transaction. Now, picking a real estate attorney, you want to find one who is good, and we'll talk about what a good real estate attorney means, but you also want to pick somebody who has experience, and you want to pick somebody who's available. And this is particularly important when it comes to the real estate attorney, because I've had great real estate attorneys, ones who have protected me, got me out of bad situations where the property wasn't suitable for me to move on with, performed all kind of things, got me out of deals where I couldn't get the funding. So that's a great real estate attorney, but you want to make sure that they're available, because there's nothing worse than having a real estate attorney who is not available. Maybe you have a real estate attorney on the seller side who is ready to close, because remember, seller is probably getting some proceeds out of this transaction, or they just have great interest to sell their property. So they're going to be looking to close on the property as soon as possible. So you want to make sure your attorney's in lockstep with the seller's attorney and there's no lagging. And when your attorney's not available to answer these calls or respond, that could be a killer of a deal a lot of times, or at least slow down the deal. And if closing the deal is in your best interest and in the seller's interest, you do not want your attorney slowing things down. That's your attorney, and that's how you do diligence with them. Now, doing due diligence with your attorney means calling them, letting them know at different points of the process, anything that you're uncomfortable with, anything that you want them to negotiate, anything that you want them to make both sides aware of from a legal standpoint. That's what due diligence is going to look like with you and your real estate attorney. So now that we've done our due diligence with our real estate agent, our loan officer, and our attorney, now is probably going to come the part where we have the home inspection. And we're going to enlist a home inspector, again, that has experience, that's available, that is credible, and we're going to get our home inspected. Now, what I hope you would have done by now is every time that you've gone into this property that you hopefully want to be yours in the near future. So by now, you've probably visited the property a bunch of different times. You've looked at it a bunch of times to make sure it's what you liked. You've got it under attorney review. At this point, I hope you've taken note of things that you love about the property and things that you don't love so much about the property. And why is this important? Well, the next phase of this is our home inspection. And now these things that you don't like about a property could just be cosmetic, right? You don't like the colors of the wall. You don't like the colors of the bedroom. Maybe you want to change out a vanity. Maybe you want to do some light renovation or alterations in the kitchen or things of that nature. But when it comes to the home inspection, you want to point out to the home inspector some things that you didn't like about the property that could be an issue based on the electrical, the plumbing, the heating or HVAC system. If you live in an area that has that, any foundational issues, if you see issues or you feel some drafts with the windows, or you see anything that looks unsavory or unsafe with the roof, things of that nature. So you want to make sure you jot these things down or you keep in the back of your mind, because when it's time for the home inspection, these are things you're going to bring up with the home inspector. So again, we find a home inspector, we've done our due diligence, we probably got referrals, we make sure they're credible, we make sure they have experience, we make sure they're really savvy, we make sure they're thorough, that they check everything, they perform all the different tests. Some you may haven't heard about, some maybe not, but we just want a very professional, savvy home inspector. And when we have the home inspection, we want to let them go walk around the house with their tape measure and their different gadgets and let them do their thing, but also bring up those things that seem like safety issues or things that may be major improvements, major repairs that may need to be made on the property, that you want to know if it's safe or if it's something that will kill the deal completely, or some things that you may need to bring up to your attorney or your real estate agent that could be actual bargaining tools to get some kind of credits or discounts just to make it more favorable for you moving forward to buy this property. So you let the inspector do their thing and you help them help you by bringing things up that are concerned to you and make sure they highlight these things in their inspection report. Okay, cool. Now, we got the inspection done, right? And what's next? Well, once the inspection comes back, your attorney's going to get a copy, the seller's attorney is going to get a copy, your real estate agent is going to see a copy. This is where your lawyer, your real estate agent, they're going to negotiate and try to make adjustments based on what was found in the inspection report. So once all of that's out the way, we made adjustments, we're fine moving forward, we're going to have to get an appraisal done. So how do we do our due diligence with our appraiser? Well, the appraiser is really going to kind of be on the loan officer or the finance side. We don't really have a choice with the appraiser. The loan officer or the bank is actually going to pick an appraiser and they're just going to show up. So how do you do your due diligence with this person when that is the case? Well, the appraiser is going to derive the value of this home that you're looking to buy. And what they do is they make sure that the home is worth the same amount or greater of the loan amount that you're going for. If you really love this property and you've done your research and your due diligence and you believe the property is worth the loan amount that you are going for and actually the price that you put the offer in for, you don't want any issues that are going to throw this off. So how do you do your due diligence with the appraiser to make sure that there's no issues? Well, this is where you're going to team up with your real estate agent and you're going to ask your agent to pull some comps or comparable properties, or remember the ones that you looked at that sold in the beginning when you were doing your research? Yeah, you want to pull those back up, make sure your real estate agent can pull those back up on the MLS. And when it's time for the appraisal, we want to kind of print some of those out or email some of those properties to the appraiser to just kind of help them do their job. Now, we're not doing anything illegal or we're not trying to influence them in any kind of fraudulent way. But again, when we do our due diligence, we're trying to help them help us. You're going to notice that that's a theme on this channel and definitely in this video. Okay, so that's how we're going to use our due diligence, right, to actually help the appraiser help us. So we're going to give them some comps. They're not going to have to do a lot of work. If the comps are good, if they're within a mile, or if they are the same property type, same amount of bedrooms and baths, and the same amount of condition, they'll be able to make their adjustments and they'll be able to come back with a value hopefully close or more to the offer and the purchase price that you and the seller agreed on. At this point, you're going to have to do a title search, which is basically kind of like a Carfax for a property, making sure there's no different liens or no judgments or anything that you're going to inherit that's going to be a burden or a financial obligation or that's going to inhibit you from getting loans or even transferring the property once you're ready to sell. So that's what a title search does, and a title company performs that duty. In a lot of states, depending on where you're at, title company and the lawyer will actually be working together. They might be the same, or you might just literally deal with a title company instead of an attorney. If those two entities are divorced or they're separate, usually the bank will choose a title company. And to be honest, there's not much due diligence to do with a title company. They're basically, again, they're like the Carfax. They're going to make sure they're going to run a legal history on the property. They're going to run a legal kind of history on you. And you're basically going to go through those different things. And it's not much due diligence you can do with them. Only due diligence I would suggest that you do with them is as they give you a list of people with the same name as you that had judgments or different things against them, be very diligent and be very kind of thorough and pretty fast in going through that list to make sure those judgments that have a similar name to you are not you, and you can get that back to the title company to make sure your transaction goes very smooth or is not held up at this point in the transaction. So once your title work is done, once your appraisal is back, the value is good, there's no hiccups with the financing and anything like that, you're ready to get to the closing table. I want to congratulate you. You want to know why? Because you did your due diligence from A to B. You didn't get caught up in people not doing their jobs. And most of all, you helped the real estate professionals that helped you during this transaction. You helped them help you, because your goal was to get from where you were to the closing table, and you've done that. So congratulations. So now, if this real estate process we talked about is your investment and you're new to real estate investing, I encourage you to click this link here. I wrote this book, Real Estate Investing for Beginners. This is a perfect book for you to get started in real estate investing. It dispels all these fancy terms and all this jargon that you may be hearing, and it basically gives you a great foundation to start to build your real estate portfolio, start your real estate journey, and to dispel any myth or hesitation or fears that you may have. So click the link up here to get your real estate investing guide for beginners. And listen, if you like this content, if you think it can help somebody else, if you like this channel and all the real estate related content I'm gonna be talking about here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you next video.